We're here at Prestige Motorsports where Cody McCleary is putting together a Shelby Ford FE. And one of the things that they do that's really cool is mark and measure the dipstick, so make sure you always have the correct oil level for your custom engine. Now that's something that'll throw a lot of younger or less experienced engine builders off, so they've got a cool method, and let me show you how he goes about doing it.
Mahle Hemi 5.7 liter power pack piston kit is engineered to maximize horsepower and take the guesswork out of component selection. It offers forged 2618 alloy pistons coated with a dry phosphate lubricant and graphite impregnated skirt coating to minimize friction, all paired with low drag file fit rings and high strength steel wrist pins and clips for uncompromising reliability. This Hemi 5.7 liter power pack piston kit can be used with the stock 6.242 inch rod length to maintain a factory stroke, or in stroker applications utilizing a 6.125 inch rod. It features a unique dome shape designed to work with the early 85cc 5.7 liter heads, as well as both the 2009 and up 65cc 5.7 liter heads and the 74cc 6.1 liter cylinder heads. This power pack kit offers cylinder head interchangeability that can be combined with a variety of stock and aftermarket gasket thicknesses to achieve a large number of compression ratio combinations. Mahle's power pack piston kits are engineered to work for your late model Hemi application right out of the box.
Cody measures from the oil pan rail to either the top of the windage tray, or in this case, since as you can see we don't have a windage tray, to this plate which Canton uses to keep oil from splashing out of the sump. Or if your pan has a kickout, you know that the pan manufacturer doesn't want oil above that, so just measure to the top of the kickout. In our pan, the measurement was 2 1/8 inches. Then he makes a mark on the exterior of the pan that represents his maximum fill level. Now this is the most oil that we can have filling both the front and the rear sump in this pan without getting so high that it'll get caught up in the spinning crankshaft and cause power robbing windage. Now that he has that measurement, he can get a better measurement on how far down the dipstick this mark should be. In our case, we're running a low car dipstick which is easily adjustable. As you can see, this dipstick is one size fits all, which essentially means that it fits nothing perfectly. But that's okay because it's easy to adjust. Cody determines he needs to shorten the dipstick 3 3/4 of an inch to get the marker in the right spot. Now this is as simple as removing the handle at the top of the dipstick and cutting 3 3/4 of an inch off of the flexible cable from the top side of the dipstick. Then, when everything is reassembled, the dipstick is perfectly tailored to the correct length of this custom engine.
So when you got fresh oil in the engine, it's very hard to see the oil on this dipstick. So what we like to do is just use some cheap flat black spray paint, and we spray it. That way you can really see where the oil is.
So following up, now that we know how to properly mark a dipstick, a lot of people may wonder, like, what signs should I have if my dipstick is mismarked, or maybe I'm not even running one or something like that? So this is Lloyd, the man at Prestige, the brain behind every engine build that comes out of here. What kind of signs would somebody see if they suspect they have low oil volume in their engine? What kind, besides checking the dipstick?
Well, obviously, if you know, if you're not on the dyno or something of that nature where you can monitor it, the loss of oil pressure, okay, that's really for the average Joe that's not measuring power. You know, if you're on the chassis dyno, that's one thing, and that's a little hard even there, as far as determining if you have windage, too much oil. So for the average guy on the street, really just lack of oil pressure. That's really kind of a hard thing.
Okay.
You know?
So keeping
it's
an
a
eye.
lot easier on the dyno.
Okay, good. So keeping an eye on your oil pressure gauge, basically.
Yep.
What about the other end of the spectrum? People don't realize that too much oil can also be a problem for your engine too.
Well, yeah. So it induces leaks because it creates windage. So now when you create windage, basically you're throwing oil at certain areas that aren't used to it. Okay, front seals, rear seals. So we see that a lot. If a guy overfills or thinks he's going to be safe, number one, it creates leaks. Number two, it creates temperature as you're bashing more oil into the crank and things of that nature. And then it decreases horsepower. So too much oil is almost worse than too little.
Have you seen on the dyno how much horsepower you can lose with too much
Oh,
oil?
you can, you know, we do quite a bit of there. Basically, and I think that last video we said we set the dipstick level with the windage tray. That's kind of where we start. That's the ideal deal. So basically, if I get on the dyno and I start to lose pressure, which happens quite a bit, then I'll start adding oil to it. And I'll add oil till I'll lose probably 5 to 10 horsepower with only a half a quart added.
Wow.
So only a half a quart. Okay. So so then we know to back up from that, and that's where the safe margin is. The guy on the street obviously doesn't have that luxury of that and stuff. You know, and the windage deal is really not just the oil level, but the type of blocks you're running. We've had incidents where we have a specific oil pan we know works on this block, and all of a sudden you get a new block and it doesn't work. It causes windage. And so as you understand, that oil is flinging everywhere. So it goes up into cavities in the block, and how it comes back down from the cavities creates windage. Okay, windage that you can't really control or understand.
Now you've seen it all in your racing career. How valuable is a good windage tray in an oil pan when you're trying to
really, really, really valuable. The construction of it, what it's made out of material-wise is not just a tray, but what it's designed like. You can say I got a windage tray, and we've had windage trays that don't work. Okay, they actually cause more problems.
Right.
So how it's constructed, what it's constructed out, and then too, you know, you'll have a lot of pans that have trays, but there's nowhere for it to be efficient behind it.
Right.
So I highly suggest a pouch. I mean, a pouch is a remarkable thing, you know, so a catch pouch behind the tray. So just having a tray in there, it's kind of tit for tat, you know, type situation.
Right.
Because then there's no place for the oil behind it, basically, if you don't have a pouch.
So you're talking about a nice big kick out.
Yeah, kick out is a very, very important thing. You know,
Excellent
very
point.
important. You know, especially if you don't have depth to your pan.
Right.
You know, so a lot of pans on cars, like this pan doesn't have a lot of depth. We have marine pans that have depth, and they're not as critical about the pouch because it has depth. You know, so you got to imagine. Okay, now you're being more efficient with your tray, but what's happening behind the tray? Are you stacking it?
Right.
You know, without that pouch, that's typically what happens.
That's a great point.
So,
We're going to let him get back to work because he's got engines to build. But Senior, we appreciate it. Thanks.
All righty, thanks.